Have you guys ever wondered how time traveling works in Frieren and how that ties into the Foundation Fesitval Arc? Well, this video seeks to shed light upon what we know so far. The Goddess Monument Arc established many core ideas in the Frieren world. It unlocked time manipulation and established that there is a consistent singular timeline, because whatever happened in the past remains as the present. Once before, the great mage Flamme studied the theory of irreversibility, as well as Solitar mentioning the same, that time can be bent by will, meaning the fabric of reality can be changed by divine force. Is that a part of the magic of the goddess or something else? It has to be partly true, because time traveling can change the fabric of reality. The Foundation Fesitval Arc takes these ideas introduced in the prior arc and has us deliberating over how far can magic go, specifically the magic of the goddess. At this time, Aether mentioned that only 3% of the goddess of creation's magic has been unlocked. So is it possible, like Commander Rivale of the Shadow Warrior wants, that the fabric of the world, the magic and mana blessed upon this world, could be no more? And by that, does he mean reverting reality back to the time where mana never existed? Oh yeah, spoiler warning, but it's a little bit too late, so just stay like everyone else. And before we can continue, it's another day in the Frieren Manga hiatus. Yamada Kanehito and Abe Tsukasa are creating a feature based on the past, so that you can live in the present to enjoy what is to come when the great mage Serie, the feet goddess, meets her eventual end.
不合格だ。
With the Goddess Monument Arc, it was our first taste of real time traveling in Frieren, and there were key events that took place in order for Frieren to travel to the past and then back to the present until the monument was left no longer enchanted. The hero of the South and Schlatt the Omniscient, who can see up to 1,000 years into the future, established our first characters that have clairvoyant type of abilities. In chapter 145, Serie breaks down exactly what clairvoyance actually is and the limitations of it. But the topic of this video is about how time traveling works, at least through what we've seen in Frieren's experience, and how that ties into the Shadow Warrior's motives to rid the world of all magic. For the Foundation Fesitval Arc, I believe Kanehito is going to use what was established previously to potentially show how Commander Rivale, the accomplices, or if there is a true mastermind behind all of this, may be able to do what Hilt says in chapter 147, that humanity and demons alike will lose their mana and rid the world of magic. The laws of the world, rewritten in the time of myth, shall return to how they once were. In the Goddess Monument flashback, it established potentially the how of time traveling and making the impossible possible by us witnessing all the elements that took place for that to happen. So now, as of chapter 147, we will soon witness how that applies in the present as Kanehito's story continues to unfold. A handful of theories could make it possible to remove magic from the world, like literally going back far enough to where magic never existed in the first place, and know how to reverse how magic was blessed upon the world. Another would be somehow working with the greater demon Tot, the Saint of the End. In order to affect the entire world, you need an ability to literally AoE the entire world, and she possesses some world-covering curse. However, she is someone that loves magic, so it's hard to sell the idea that working with a demon and getting rid of magic would be something she would want to do, along with someone like Commander Rivale wanting to work with a demon. The other method of changing reality would be hypnosis related, like a dream world, but no one likes Madara's scheme in Naruto. The last idea would be something like the Goddess of Creation, simply leaving an ability to rid the world of magic. If humanity ever went on a rampage and abused magic, then potentially there are ways to take it away that might actually be in the Holy Scriptures and unlocked at an enchanted goddess monument. No matter what theory someone comes up with, The time-traveling one makes the most sense, along with the idea that the goddess of creation left a spell that could undo magic due to humanity's destruction. Now, let's talk about how Frieren actually time traveled. So for Frieren to go back to the past, she needed what for her to travel back in time to become her past self? An enchanted goddess monument and a spell via Thor. Where did that spell come from? The time-traveling bird chapter in the Holy Scriptures. In chapter 107, Frieren reveals that the goddess enchanted 10 stone monuments on this continent, and no one has ever deciphered them until now, and whoever helped Himmel. It's important to point out why the 9 left enchanted goddess monuments after Frieren used up one. The Holy Scriptures and the magic of the goddess means much more beyond just because it's time traveling. I believe that some way, somehow, that is how Commander Louvre of the Shadow Warriors, and if there is a mastermind beyond him, will implement the magic of the goddess to remove mana from the world. Lore of the Shadow Warriors looks like she specializes in the magic of the goddess. That even worries Frieren. Bausch acknowledges that it's possible that the Empire has probably deciphered more of the magic of the goddess compared to the rest. Overall, we are witnessing during the Foundation Festival storyline that the goddess's magic is becoming a more and more important component of the story as a threat. For the Foundation Fesitval Arc purposes of determining who might be best suited to stop Commander Rivale in doing or undoing magic from the world, it might actually be Fern, because right before Frieren transported herself to the past, she told her that she read the book with the spell via Thor that was needed in order for her to time travel, whereas Frieren did not and has not as of the Goddess Monument arc. And clearly, other priests like GoCP and whoever helped Himmel decipher those time-traveling bird chapter texts would be privy to something that is time-traveling related. If humanity knew that they can change the past, they would 100% seek that out, like you. However, the other piece of the puzzle was the goddess already enchanting some kind of magic onto the monument, so it can't be done again by touching the monument and saying the spell. Yet there are still 9 enchanted monuments that we have yet to assume could allow people to time travel or do something else entirely for a major purpose. That is where I'm proposing that it's possible that Commander Lu's connections and the discoveries of more magic of the goddess could be a reality bending one related to one of these goddess monuments. If Frieren could have altered time, then why not someone else be able to alter reality? One of the biggest clues as to why Commander Rivale might be using something related to the magic of the goddess is what he said in chapter 147, rewritten in the time of myth. How are the encryptions that need to be deciphered written as? Hector states here that the tales of the mythical times are written as cipher text. This may be a very large clue that Commander Louvre will invoke a divine will somehow through the magic of the goddess. That is exactly what Commander Rivale wants, to eliminate magic from the world. In order to unlock the magic of the goddess, the best way would be to decipher a holy scripture. Hector says it himself that Eisen is partially correct in that the holy scriptures help them learn about the magic of the goddess, but the texts themselves are just tales of the mythical times, written as cipher texts. They are long encrypted texts that teach you how to use the various spells of the goddess. Like the video with Tot, where we can simply break down the math behind roughly how long it takes Tot, the Saint of the Inn, to finish accumulating whatever her curse is, we can start breaking down roughly how much more of the goddess's magic have been deciphered. Only 3% has actually been discovered, based on the records from the Holy City. Remember, this is 53 years before the death of Himmel the Hero, 7 years after the heroes began their quest in the northern plateau at Kino Pass. By the time Frieren, Fern, and Stark made it into Imperial territory, there was roughly about a 50-year gap after the heroes' party defeated the Demon King. Frieren said she came back in time from over 80 years ago, with Solitar mentioning that the Demon King believes someone from about 100 years in the future came back in time. I've always wondered how the Demon King knew this and how someone like Zark, the Remnant, knew the whereabouts of this goddess monument and like what it does. Back to trying to math this thing about the goddess's monument being discovered at 3%. It takes on average between 20 to 30 years to decipher the holy scripture that leads to the magic of the goddess. However, there are ones that can span across centuries with multiple generations. The holy scriptures had been discovered and started deciphering about 1500 years ago. In present time, Frieren, we are looking at maybe 3 to 4 more holy scriptures being deciphered, because it being roughly 80 years since going back to the past. But the bigger question with something like what Commander Louvre is trying to do seems like it could have been a holy scripture that took centuries to complete, and that could be the magic that would unlock one of the enchanted goddess monuments. Actually guys, I don't think the math matters as much right now, because there are some holy scriptures that last so long. It makes me think about maybe the southern lands where the clan that has all these clairvoyant abilities. Maybe that has something to do with the magic of the goddess. In a record that was written about the monument of the goddess, Fern finds out that the spell specifically that would allow her to travel back in time is from the time traveling bird chapter in the holy scriptures. Arthur mentioned that the time traveling bird chapter was empty. Not literally empty, but like no one deciphered a goddess spell from it. This is where we find out that a spell was already written on the monument. It said, Via Thor, the same spell that Fern mentioned exactly where it was written from. And Himmel decided that then and there, they would investigate this holy scripture, assumingly with Eisen and Hyther, after they finished their journey in defeating the Demon King. What's interesting is that in chapter 119, it was roughly just a short time before Himmel died, because this man said that over 30 years prior, Himmel came to carve out that very spell onto the goddess monument. That tells us something important though, right? That for roughly 30 years, Himmel, Hyther, Eisen, and whoever else involved in discovering the time-traveling bird chapter knows the spell via Thor, and that it involves time traveling with the goddess's magic. All the clues already exist in the Frieren world and just need to be discovered. So it's not so far-fetched to assume that maybe Commander Rivale has access to the goddess's magic that could allow mana to be removed from the world, with another goddess monument being the answer, with 9 left that are still enchanted by the goddess of creation.